And welcome back to the Market Wolf. I am the Market Wolf, where I give you the best bear case, the best bull case, and I give you my opinion. And remember, last week I told you that we would be finishing red or about equal, and we have finished red, and we really didn't have much of a move there. There's a lot of kind of upward buying pressure here and a lot of downward here. Perhaps we're starting to hit some kind of an equilibrium, although you can see today, although it's green, we're a little lower, so we got to keep an eye on that price. And I want to take you to the daily because these higher time frames are important, and I want to show you just exactly what we're seeing here on the S&P 500 when it comes to volume on these moves. We have increasing price. We've got decreasing incoming volume overall on the daily. So that is something to keep in mind. However, we are underbought. Momentum could be moving towards the top side. So we're getting some mixed signals here. It's important to kind of read through these mixed signals because sometimes you can have moves happening that bubble up in the lower time frames and start to show up in the higher time frames. And with that, I want to take you to the 30-minute. And remember what I said yesterday. I told you, and again, our case is playing out exactly. The one that I circled yesterday. Go back to yesterday's video. I gave you two opinions, which I don't normally do, but I circled that last opinion and I added a caveat. I told you that I thought that we would likely go up off of this and flag and then go up, which we did. Now, I told you, since we were starting that bullish divergence, that I thought it was possible that we could make it all the way up maybe to the middle of this channel and then experience a rejection, and then kind of come back this way and down, right? So we still have yet to see if this scenario will play out or not. However, right now what we've got, what it looks like a pretty solid rejection here potentially. So something to keep in mind as we are coming down, but we are supported on the 30-minute by the 50 and the 100-day moving average. So that is something to keep in mind there. And then we've got also, though, the 20-day on top of us. So we've got this squeeze going on. And which direction will it go? Well, we're going to see as we tease out the details here and the information. So I think when we take a look at the best bear case for tomorrow, when we're looking for that bear case, we see on the 30-minute we had, just look at the last couple of trading days. The volume has been absolutely abysmal. And then to top that off, you've had large amounts of exiting volume towards the end of the trading day. And though we've come a little higher here, we still have really yet to say that we've made a higher high. Truly, we were roughly equivalent off of this rejection. And so that's something to keep in mind for the bear case here on the 30-minute. And really momentum is starting to move against us as well, and we are still in these downward channels. So despite this bullish divergence that's occurring on the 30-minute, we still have these other problems. Let's look at the bear case further onto the hour time frame, because I just want to show you how we still continue to see the beginnings of a bullish divergence, and we're beginning to be supported by the 20-day, it looks like, potentially here. I just want to get a really good look at that. And see, price is actually below the 20-day now. So And this is after market. So that's interesting. We'll have to keep an eye on that and see how that plays out. But that's bearish. Now you've lost support on the hour from the 20-day. Let's go to the 2-hour and see. You're going to see on the 2-hour, the bullish divergence hasn't even started on the 2-hour. We are just now beginning to get support on the 2-hour from the 20-day moving average. If you see tomorrow, or even after market and pre-market, if you see price fall through there, again, very bearish. That's a very bearish thing to be looking at. And then also on the 2-hour, we're beginning to lose momentum. These are all very, very bearish cases. Okay, so what about the bull case? Is there any hope for the bulls at all? Let me take you back to the 30-minute. And I'll tell you right now that for the bull case tomorrow, you can see that we are not overbought at all on the 30-minute. We're certainly not overbought on the higher time frames. And you might think, well, that's really the only thing we see, right? We need incoming volume, and that's about it. Well, that's true. We do need incoming volume. That's a big deal. But there's a portion of that we're not seeing on the 30-minute. Sometimes you have to take it even lower. Let's go to the 15-minute. And if you take a look at the 15-minute here, you can see that, well, the picture starts to look a little bit different, doesn't it? The volume that was exiting doesn't seem to be all that bad. I mean, we have this through here. We definitely have increasing exiting on this move down. But then right here, as we get right in between what you could kind of consider the head, it's not really a head and shoulders pattern, but if you were to cut this in half, it kind of looks that way, right? I guess you could call that here, you could call that head and shoulders, and potentially this is another shoulder forming, right? And then we would maybe roll over, and that would be the bear case. But that is a lot of incoming volume there. So that's interesting. And you can follow this same idea down all the way to the minute time frame. And this is how moves begin to build and they bubble up through these other time frames. So for the bulls, I think the best bull case for tomorrow is that I think bulls, you're going to have to be aware that we're probably going to back test at least down to, I would say you might even catch some of these wicks here. You may even come all the way down to 39726. Okay, so I think that back test to there, but honestly, it may not even back test that far. You may just get a back test and a cooling to 39860. And then from there, I think the bulls, you could have a bounce if this bullish divergence continues, if you get good volume in, and then you could perhaps begin to continue to build good structure here as you are moving through. I want to take a look just for the bull case on some of these higher time frames. I want to take a look at the 4-hour just to see if we see any kind of structure that could be considered, anything that might be similar to a reversal pattern of sorts. And not much right now. Not much right now. I think on the bull case, it may be a longer term in that sense. I don't want to share that with you yet because I don't want to give you too much information that might. I don't want to get anybody wrecked if you're happening to use this as trading advice. You shouldn't be. We're all about education and entertainment here, but I certainly don't want to. Well, you know what? Why not? Let's talk about it. You're all grown-ups here. You can make your own decisions for yourself. I would think on the bull case, this is a long-term bull case, assuming there's some kind of miraculous turnaround in the market. It would have to go through a bear case first, though. So I think you could, yeah. As a matter of fact, no, I wouldn't even make that case. I wouldn't make that case at all. That's not something I'm even going to bring up because I don't think that's valid. Okay, so yeah, we really are limited on the bull case, other than to say that we were we're undersold, essentially. We're undersold. That's really all we've got right now until we see more volume come in and we start to see some better structure. I really thought we were going to make it up midway to this channel today and then roll over. I think we're still in between. We could see either one play out. So what am I thinking for tomorrow? What's my opinion? Well, my opinion based on what I'm seeing here is that, we've been hanging out in this accumulation zone for a long time. I mean, we've been here since May 9th, roughly. I mean, it's the 16th today. So we've been in this accumulation zone, this lower accumulation zone for a while. And basically the market was here and there was a lot of exiting here, a lot of trading back and forth. And it said, no, I don't like that. Let's go down here. A little bit of trading back and forth down here that brought us back up to this level. We've spent so much time in this level. We're either going to have a further breakdown back into this sub-level and further, or we are going to finally have to break back up and we are going to have to test this area right here. So roughly, I would say, between 409, 46, you could potentially make it all the way up and catch some more order blocks up towards getting crazy about 425.56, even further, really, 425.77. But yeah, we're in a weird spot right now because we are in the middle of the beginnings of a potential bullish divergence and really just a whole lot of bear signals just overall. I mean, you look at the 4 hour, it's just astonishing. I mean, just look at this volume profile on the 4 hour. I mean, what are we looking at there? It's just, that's ugly. That's ugly is what that is. And I'm not seeing anything that makes me think that we're having any bullish divergences anywhere else. I'll tell you what I think right now. Let's go over price action because I'm having to tease this out myself as I'm looking at it. And I tell you what, I think that we're definitely going to come down here. I think tomorrow it's time to fill that gap. I do. I really do. So, I mean, how you come down is a different story. I mean, there's a number of ways, right? So we could back test here. We could try and come back up and then, fall through, get rejected, fill the gap. We might M-top here and come down, fill the gap. Then maybe you start to try and come back up at that point. But, we would be in these sub-levels. And then the question is, so basically that's the case I'm laying out for you. That is my opinion for tomorrow. And then the question really becomes, do we head down to this targeted move here? Because look, we're approaching that fib line, and I was anticipating that this purple fib line, we'd have a significant drop here pretty soon. If we played out to here tomorrow, so you could have a measured move if it actually did drop through, and assuming it doesn't just come all the way through all at once and it plays out to maybe this point before a drop, or let's be conservative. Let's say it plays out to about right here before a drop. Then you're looking at what, roughly a 4.32% drop on the S&P 500 tomorrow if we do get that drop. Any kind of reversal pattern is going to depend entirely on volume as to whether it fails or not. My biggest concern is that we just continue to bleed out slow, because for a lot of people, it's going to be difficult if we continue down this channel here, or any of these downward channels that we've been in, if we continue to this fib line, okay, because that's still a significant drop, right? But it took a much longer period of time to get there, and that allows volatility to cool down. And while we're talking about that, I think there is one other thing I want to mention. I want to bring you to the VIX very quickly, because we need to look and see how our case is holding up. And there's something I want to remind you all about that's very important, especially if you're trading UVXY or something like that. If you're trying to play the VIX to the downside. So there we are. Yep. Okay. So let's take it. We are on the 4 hour. That's good. Let's zoom out a bit here so we can get a better view of this. You can see that we're in this symmetrical triangle and that our case is holding up. We are cooling, and this is what I'm talking about. As long as we keep trading sideways, even if it's down and sideways, because we have to go up sometimes, as long as we continue that trend, the VIX will continue to cool down. UVXY will continue to drop in price, despite the fact that the market is actually dropping. And that's one thing we need to be aware of as we are trading in the center of this symmetrical triangle. You have to be aware that if you're trading UVXY, that price could be going down even through this area. What we really need to see is a rip up on the VIX, and we also need to see not only a rip up on the VIX, but we need to also see a big move on the S&P 500, a big expansion to the downside to really catch that. So right now when I'm looking at the VIX, it just seems to me that, if you were to look at the VIX by itself, you would say, well, it sure seems like the VIX wants to continue cooling. But you could have said that at this point, too. In the case I just gave you, in my opinion, I think we're going to fall tomorrow. And if you look at the VIX, what have we got here right now? We've essentially got almost really an upward trend in some respects. Not completely, but you could argue it's there. I mean, this is on the 4 hour, so it's certainly, we definitely have a touch here, and you could argue even from this area here, though. You could say, well, we could be hitting an uptrend, like there might be a little more downside maybe, but maybe we hit an uptrend here. So, there's no way to know. You can go back and you can see how the VIX behaves. And we're not necessarily done here in these upper ranges. So if we do fall through tomorrow, and I suspect we will, I think we're going to get a bounce here on VIX from 26.94 or from the 24.93 area. We're going to be getting a bounce. I don't think we're going to fall back into this range on the VIX, and I definitely do not think we're going to go back below 20, at least, in the coming days. So, anything can happen. It can certainly drop. So, that's the bear case. That's the bull case. Keep in mind that, we are looking for the market to drop eventually, significantly. I don't think that it can be propped up forever. We've had 6 consecutive weeks on the S&P 500 of, red market looks like it might be trying to do something, but as far as tomorrow goes, I see us going down tomorrow. I don't see any way around it. That's just what I'm thinking. That's what I'm feeling. I think that bullish divergence we're seeing is a fake out. I could be wrong. Sometimes I am, but it is what it is. I'm giving you the best case I got in front of me. That's the best bear case. That's the best bull case. We'll see you next time on The Market Wolf.